February's first batch of Xbox Game Pass games have been announced. Gaming acquisitions are going to continue, and Starfield shows off some more about the game. Welcome back to another video, guys. If you enjoy daily content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. So as always, we get the first batch, the announcement for the first games coming to Game Pass in the month. There's always 2 announcements, and we have our list here for the beginning of February. So let's take a look at what we're going to be able to play. So the first game we have here is Contrast. Now, Contrast is interesting in the sense that this was Compulsion Games' first game that they made. It is kind of like a 3D action adventure platformer style of game, and as we know, Compulsion is now part of Xbox Game Studios, and you're going to be able to check this game out on Game Pass. And I don't know too much about this game, but from looking at the trailers and reading about it, it looks like exactly what a Compulsion game is all about. Just interesting, quirky graphics and story and characters, and kind of like a darkness to it. So it will be interesting to see what this game is about. I've never played it, and I'm thinking I'm going to want to check this out, especially because it gives us insight as to kind of where Compulsion Games started from. Now, this game is available on February 3rd, so that will be tomorrow on cloud and console. The next game we've heard about previously was coming to Xbox Game Pass, and that is Dreamscaper, available as well on February 3rd, cloud, console, and PC. So this is a roguelike game. It's another indie game coming over to the service. Graphically looks pretty stunning with all of the effects that you're seeing here on the screen. The combat looks fun, and definitely a game if you're into roguelikes that you're going to want to check out. Telling Lies, this is as well available February 3rd, cloud, console, and PC, and this is just kind of like a interactive storytelling style of game. So it's one that you're going to be going through and I guess making different decisions, and which will affect the overall story that you get while playing through it. So if you're into that type of stuff, check out Telling Lies. Next up, we have Besiege, which is going to be available on February 10th, cloud, console, and PC. And this is a building game with like medieval time stuff here, where you're going to be building up castles and your army, and you're going to be going out and taking on different enemies. Next up, we have a big one here, Crossfire X, a game a ton of people have been waiting for. It kept getting pushed back, and we didn't know when this was coming out, and we finally got the release date. So this is coming February 10th to console, and it's going to be available day 1 with Xbox Game Pass. Now, what's interesting about this is that you're going to get access to the single player campaign through Xbox Game Pass, but you're only going to get access to the one single player campaign because there are multiple. But there is a deal going on with Xbox right now. You're going to be able to save 20%, so $5 off of it. And if you pre-order the game, you get the Crossfire X Ultimate Package, which will give you access to the entire game. Crossfire X, the Crossfire X Operation Catalyst campaign, the Crossfire X Operation Spectre campaign, the Premium Battle Pass for Season 1, and a Gatling Gun Gold Wing. So for $25, and this is Canadian, I believe, or maybe American, I'm not sure because I'm not signed in here, but for $25 either way, it is, I think, a decent deal. I'm probably going to go ahead and just pre-order it so I can get access to the entire campaign. Next up, we have a game that I think it looks really interesting, and it is Edge of Eternity. It's coming out onto console on February 10th everywhere, so you're getting it technically as a day 1 game on console, and as well, you're going to be able to check it out on cloud and PC through Xbox Game Pass. But it is a JRPG. It's already been out on PC. It looks very Final Fantasy-like when you're looking at the graphics, the gameplay. It is turn-based, and just everything about this game just reminds me of a Final Fantasy game. Now, again, it's been out on PC already, and it has mostly positive reviews from the users, meaning that, hey, this could be a great game. I no idea, but for me, it looks like a game that I would be interested in checking out. A JRPG. There's not always JRPGs that come out with Xbox Game Pass, so this could be one of them here. If you're looking for a turn-based game like this, you can go ahead and play on February 10th. Going down here to Skull, the Hero Slayer, available February 10th, cloud, console, and PC. And watching the trailer of this game, I'm extremely excited for this one. Now, this is a pixel side-scrolling roguelite game with extremely fast-paced action, and this is definitely right up my alley. But what's really cool about this game is that it kind of reminds me of Nobody Saves the World, a game that I'm playing right now, which I absolutely love. love. Obviously the big difference with this one is that it is side scrolling, but apparently with this game you get to change between a bunch of different characters with a bunch of different combat styles, and that's kind of what Nobody Saved the World is all about. So super excited for Skull. Definitely will be checking this one out. We have this next game here that is another indie game. It is a action RPG in a semi-open world, and it's called The Last Kids on Earth and the Staff of Doom. So obviously, as you can see, it's a zombie game. It has that isometric view. You're going around taking out zombies, and it's an RPG, and it looks like you can play this game co-op from what we saw in the start menu just a second ago there. And this game will be available on February 10th as well, cloud, console, and PC. After that, you have Ark Ultimate Survival Edition. I mean, Ark's been out for a while. It's a survival game, but this is the Ultimate Survivor Edition, which I guess gives you just all of the content that's currently within the game. And again, cloud, console, and PC. This one will be available on February 14th. And then last but not least, we have Infernax. Infernax will be available February 14th, cloud, console, and PC. And again, for me, this game looks right up my alley. I'm excited to check this one out when it comes out. It says here that it's like a Castlevania style inspired game. It's non-linear action game where you're going through trying to figure out your way through the levels, and you have all the action involved with it. It looks very cool. So there you have it. I mean, it's not a huge month for sure. Like, there's no massive game. I guess Crossfire X is the big one people are looking forward to. If you're not interested in getting all of the content right away, you could just go ahead and play it on Game Pass, but you can also pre-order it and get access to all of the upcoming campaigns and everything in the year one battle pass, all that type of stuff. But overall, for me, like, I look at this list of games, and yes, like I said, not a huge title on there, not something that you're going to be wowed about, not like we had in January where there was just a ton of great games, but so many smaller indie games that I'm very excited to jump in and try out at some point. And I personally love indie games. I think that indie games, like I've said on my channel many times, have some of the most creative styles, art styles, music, and all that type of stuff. So for me, like Edge of Eternity, I want to check out. Infernax, Skull, definitely will be checking out that one. And then even Contrast, I want to see where Compulsion Games really started from. And then of course I will be playing Crossfire X. All right, jumping over here to an article from Jeff Grubb, and just want to talk about what is going on in the video game industry right now, because this is unprecedented times that we are seeing with kind of the consolidation, if you want to put it that way, that is going on, where there is an arms race right now for companies to buy up publishers, companies to get as many IPs as possible to strategically position themselves for the future of video games, which in my opinion, as we can all see it, what's happening here is that it's going to be coming as content as the service, a subscription-based streaming model style of thing going on here, with Game Pass leading the way right now, the best service by far. You see Sony coming out with the acquisition of Bungie. They are moving slowly in that direction. They know they're going to have to go there if they're going to want to continue to compete and make as much money as they can going forward. And Jim Ryan has even come out and said in an interview that they are moving away from just the console. They're going beyond console, which is hilarious to think about now, because this is something that, like we see with a lot of the industry, with a lot of gaming things throughout its entire history since Xbox entered the market. Xbox has been the innovator, and then everyone else has followed with things like Xbox Live, achievements, friends list, party chat, all that type of stuff on console. And it's happening again. Game Pass was the innovator, was the innovation, and people are going to be following in that direction. And it looks like these acquisitions right now, you'd think that they would be slowing down, but apparently they are not. So this is a article, like I said, from Jeff Grubb on GameSpeed. He was also on his podcast the other day talking about this, saying that there will be more acquisitions coming. And he says here that it's natural to expect the acquisition market to cool off after such a hot start to the year, but conditions will likely keep many companies in the hunt. Sony's PlayStation and Microsoft's Xbox are both more profitable than ever, and we see that just with subscriptions for Game Pass going up, consoles selling out like crazy, selling more consoles than they've ever sold before in like the same time period. So it's just continued incredible growth. And because of all this, publishers want to continuously grow, increase that revenue, and this is why they're going out and they're going to purchase more IPs, and they're going to be purchasing more companies because right now they have the money. One, two, they want to continue to grow because the industry is continuously growing, and to do that you're going to need just more content, more people working for you. And thirdly, there is a big thing that is mentioned here that makes a lot of sense, and I don't think a lot of people are talking about it, but these acquisitions, the people selling Bungie, I mean Bungie itself, $3.6 billion for that company for one IP seems like a pretty hefty price to pay when you think about some of the other acquisitions that have occurred. You even think about Insomniac at $229 million, how great of a deal that was for PlayStation. You think about Bethesda and the amount of studios and IPs that Xbox got for $7.5 billion. $3.6 billion is probably a slight overpayment for Bungie. And then you look at something like Zynga and the acquisition there from Take-Two at $12.7 billion. That's probably even a slight overpayment for them too. So we're in a time right now where you have these companies like Zynga, like Bungie, like Bethesda, like Activision Blizzard, that they know they're going to be able to sell way higher at this point than they will probably going forward if they wait, or if the industry starts a downturn or anything happens. Now they're selling at the top, and we're seeing companies wanting to cash in and get as much value as possible. So these acquisitions aren't going to stop. And specifically, when Jeff Grubb was talking about this, he says in his podcast on Games to Be Society, says it takes two to tango. He was teasing, I guess, of another acquisition, but they are saying it isn't specifically Take-Two. Now, people are speculating a lot of things from this. So you go down to the comments, you have this reply here from Idle Sloth with the Capcom achievement for Resident Evil 5, it takes two to tango. You know, a lot of people have been clamoring about Capcom and are they going to get acquired and all that type of stuff. And then you have other people thinking that this may mean that there is another Japanese publisher that Xbox is looking to acquire to work alongside Tango Gameworks. So we don't know what's coming, but things are going to come. I think for Xbox's stance, it would be great if they could somehow get some more Japanese developers to work alongside Tango Gameworks, or just more developers in Japan specifically to try and grow that market. There's also companies like Konami, however you want to say it. If someone please buy them, everyone wants them bought because they're just doing nothing with all of their IP. So we will see what's happening. It's a really exciting time, and depending on how you look at it, it could be good, it could be bad in the long run. Like, consolidation can mean a lot of things. It can mean we get more IPs that we would have never gotten before because there's more money and there are more people able to work on them. And on the negative side of things, if you think about consolidation, it may mean that we're only ever going to get the big AAA things from these big companies because they need to make as much money as possible, and it could hurt the actual creativity a little bit for IPs. But from what we've seen so far, is especially with Xbox, they are allowing the developers they've acquired to just work on little random stuff and put their creative vision out there. So I think Xbox is doing a great job so far, and hopefully it continues along those lines as we move forward. All right, finally to end things off here, I wanted to show this new Starfield post. I always like looking at these because, as we know, we're still waiting on this game. We haven't seen gameplay, but I'm still very, very excited for it. And this is a new thing about the Xenofresh Corporation. So apparently the Xenofresh Corporation in Starfield, they were fishermen and they were wanting to catch fish, but upon discovering a fish with psychotropic properties, they created the drug Aurora, legal only in the pleasure city of Neon. So this is going to be a part of the game. Neon looks very cool, like a super interesting place that you're going to want to visit, and they're going to be selling you drugs as like their legal main way to, I guess, run their economy. So this is another interesting setting that we're seeing, and they're really setting Starfield up with all of these little things. I know people want gameplay, they don't care about this type of stuff, but they are setting it up, and we're gonna know about all of these little aspects of the game before seeing a huge gameplay trailer, probably diving deeper into all this. So I can't wait to see more. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. I'd love to know your thoughts on the Game Pass games. Which games do you want to play? What are your thoughts on the acquisitions, and what do you think is going to happen going forward? And Starfield, what do you think of the Xenofresh Corporation? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, you like what you saw throughout this video, I'd appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. Help this channel grow. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video.